Hello, this is Unitha L and I'm here with the professional troublemaker, the last chapter 16. I had to do a video, you guys, because we tried to meet and it was chaotic. So that's a whole nother story. But as you can see, I'm in a different office. I moved offices, so I changed things around, so I have a different background. So I moved up a floor to the executive level at Faithful, and so that happened last week. So it was just a lot going on. But one thing is, we're going to talk about this last chapter of the book, Fear, right? And so she starts off saying, we fear fear, and that fear is a hater, right? So I thought this chapter is was interesting because she kind of went back over and started defining fear and talking about uh, what fear is and all of that. And I like when she says on page 266, she said, the choice to fight fear is not like joining some lifelong club that once you're in, you can't get out. Nah, it's a moment by moment, day by day decision. The biggest scaredy cat in the world can decide to do something brave at any moment. It might be as small as ordering a donut they never had, or as big as proposing to the love of their life, or as audacious as going skydiving because their friend asked them. We are all fighting battles with the world systems, ourselves, battles that are easy to lose. And so she go a little further down. She says, cages can get comfortable, but comfort is overrated. Being quiet is comfortable. Keeping things the way they've been is comfortable, but all comfort does is maintain status quo. And what forces the people in our lives to shrink? It is partly caused by our fears and other people's angst layered on top of each other. Do we realize how often we pass on our fears to other people? I think that's interesting. I've heard someone else talking about that this week, about when we can pass our fears on to others. So we have to be mindful of that. I must say I had a father that he was like that. And I felt like I was very fearful as a young woman because my father would be like, y'all can't go to that party, you gonna get shot. And so me and my sister would be like, huh? So you can't do this because you gonna get ran over by a bus. And you'd be like, what? So as a child, you hear these things and you're just like approaching the world being ready for the dangers, being ready for the mishaps. And so we have to be mindful of that. My husband's really good. He was really good with helping me get out a lot of that fear, because he would hear me say stuff like to the kids, like, all right, when you go, be careful. I found myself sounding like my dad, and my husband would correct me and say, no, to the kids. He would say, no, be mindful. Be mindful of your surroundings. Be mindful of where you are. Be mindful of who you are and whose you are as you go out in the world. So that sounds a lot better, right? Than be careful. All right. So I think that's very important, that we have to be mindful not to put our fears on others. And then, think about how much has other people's fears affected you. Even when you want to go out and do something courageous or something bold or something different for yourself, and you ever have that friend or that family member that's like, I don't know, that don't sound right. I think you ought to be cautious and careful. And remember when such and such did it and it was a big flop. Then you be like, dang, like maybe I shouldn't. And again, we have to trust what God is telling us and what God is saying to us in those times when we want to step out and do those new things or do those courageous things or do those things that other people may have failed at it, but it doesn't mean we'll fail at it. Other people may have flopped or been embarrassed, doesn't mean we're going to be embarrassed. Everyone else's story is not our story. Now, there are cautious things we can take from other people's story. There's wisdom we can get from other people's story. So I'm not talking about that kind of stuff, but there are, we should really be mindful of counting the costs, looking at the fullness of things when we make certain decisions. Don't just make the decision haphazardly, but think about the pros and cons of what can be a result of that decision. That's counting the costs of that decision that you're making. You hear that term in the Bible, but that's what it means. It's like weighing it, looking at it, seeing the pros, seeing the cons, seeing the different angles of how it can work out, the endless possibilities of what God can do in that situation, in you, through you, for you. So we really want to approach life like that. So the last chapter, she's true to form, she was like, stuff happens, and she didn't say the word stuff, her mouth. And so she just really is just like F fear, F fear. I said forget in the title. Forget fear, forget it, F fear. We're not gonna let it rule our lives, but we should use it as a measuring stick. I do think we ought to be mindful and aware when we are fearful and ask the Lord, what is this fear about? And what should we then do with the fear? I think fear is a sign to tell us to look a little closer or deeper, or consider what's before us or what's going on. So I don't think we should just throw it away. And then she talks about an epilogue. Then we go over to the epilogue, and she talks about how, she started talking from the standpoint of what's going on now with the pandemic and everything. And she, I could tell this was like an added chapter. And she talks about how that can be very fearful, and the things that can happen when times of uncertainty, and that we can have fear. But you know what I thought she brought up, which I have thought about this and agree with her on this. And then we can have toxic positivity. And she talked about, as Christians, how we can have that. And I am like, yes, you are preaching to the choir. That is so true, because we can just be like, are you going to speak faith? Or are you going to speak fear? Are you going, what you going to do? Well, I can be fearful and still have faith. Some people say, no, you can't. Yes, you can. I can have fear, like, oh, I'm getting ready to speak. I'm a little fearful. I'm a little anxious. I'm a little whatever. But I have faith that God is going to get me through, that I'm going to speak and say all the things that God wants me to say, and I'll be fine. I can be fearful about a move or promotion or something changing or transitions in my life, wondering if I can handle it, wonder, what's going to happen, what's the new thing, and still have faith, knowing that God will be with me. Everything's going to be all right. I'm going to be fine. It's going to be all right. I trust God. And so I think, like she said in the book, sometimes in being a Christian, we can try to ignore those emotions. And the thing she was saying in the book, which I agree with, is that we need to be able to tap into our emotions, feel those things, be honest with ourselves about our emotions and what we're feeling. But the thing is to process through them using, in my opinion, what I think that she didn't put in the book, using scripture, using prayer, using affirmations, using our spiritual disciplines of worship and all those things to help us process through our emotions. And sometimes even a therapist or a life coach or a pastor, someone that we can talk to kind of process those things and move through that fearful place. So fear is real. There are people who have had trauma in their life, and as a result, they may be fearful in a certain area because of that trauma that they've experienced. So we must be sensitive to that and not be throwing out these cliches like, God is with you, you're going to be all right. And why you worrying? God got you. Okay, I know God got me, but right now I feel like he doesn't. Ooh, that's real, right? Right now, I feel like he doesn't have me. Right now, I'm mad because he took my loved one. Right now, I'm sad. Right now, I'm confused. And I still love the Lord, and I still know God is real. But this right here, I do not like this word, but I'm going to say it, sucks, right? It doesn't feel good. It's not, this does not feel good. This is not this is not like yay. And I'm really a person that really works to be positive, but there are times there's just nothing you can be positive about certain things. The reality is it can be painful, it can be um, um, tragic, it could be sad, it could be all kinds of things, and we just have to be real with that and process through it, knowing that God is with us and it's gonna get better. We trust God. And even in my grief, I remember like when my dad first died. I don't even remember 2018, so just to let you know, my dad died at the end of 2017, and literally I cannot remember what happened in 2018 because I was walking through grief. And so when people be talking about 2018, I'd be like, I can't remember. I don't know what happened. Because that was my way of, I didn't know, I didn't remember, I didn't know, but I was coping the best way I could through my sadness. I was giving my sadness to God, but there were times I was like, I trust you, Lord, even though I don't feel good, even though I want to be with my dad, even though this hurts, even though I miss him, even though I want to hug him, even though I want to see him. I trust you, Lord. And it didn't take my grief away, but it gave me the thing of just to hold on to God in the midst of my pain, in the midst of my sadness. And so how I made it through 2018, who knows? And I think I made it because I was doing that. Because I could literally, you guys, I don't know if you've ever been there, but I could feel the prayers of the people. I could feel people praying for me because I would get this strength or this ability to keep going in a situation where is no reason that I should have been able. I should have just went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and been in a ball somewhere with my head, you know what I'm saying, in a dark room. That's what I felt like. That's what it felt like. That's what grief feels like sometimes. But I kept going and I got past it on the other side and still getting past it because guess what? When our loved one leaves and transitions, it's not like all of a sudden, poof, grief is gone. We feel it. I remember my dad told me that his dad had been dead over 20 some years and he still would get sad thinking about his dad. And even when he was telling me that, he was getting choked up and I didn't understand it then. Oh, but I understand it now, right? I understand it now. So this is good. Now, let me tell you what Miss Lovey did that I was like, okay, Miss Thing with the audiobook. Okay, when you have the audiobook, I have the audiobook and the hardcover, and she put a bonus chapter. So I'm going to do a video about the bonus chapter because I started listening to the bonus chapter. I was like, well, this should have been in the book. This was good. So she really gave some tips for how to deal, like how to confront a family member or a loved one when you want to have a tough conversation. I was like, you better go on and teach, Lovey. Teach, Lovey, teach. So I'm going to do a video about the bonus chapter and send it to you guys, and I'll do it next week because I don't like to overwhelm you guys, and but F fear, right? But we're going to F fear in the way that we're not going to let fear run us. We're not going to let fear overtake us. We're not going to let fear put us in a place where I literally had a girlfriend after a breakup. She broke up with this guy and she was in the bed. I think she told me it was either 2 weeks or 2 months that she did not get out of her bed. She used the bathroom in her bed. She did everything in her bed. I have never seen, but you know what I'm saying? But people have done that. We can't let fear get us to that. We can't let heartache get us to that. We can't let nothing get us to that. As much as I love my daddy, I wasn't going to lay in the bed on myself and doing all of that. But maybe there's some who could. But we can't let any of that kind of stuff overtake us to that place. Can we lay in the bed 2 or 3 days? Yes. Can we feel bad about that for, like Oprah said, what's Oprah say? I give myself 3 days and then I got to get over it. I'm like that too. I have to give myself a certain amount of time, and I don't just be like 3 days, I'm done. But I just know I'm not going to stay in my down place long. I'm gonna be processing through it, like scriptures, praying, meditating, listening to inspirational words, listening to things that bring me joy. I even talked about with another group, that even when you are going through listening to songs that make you really happy, and I'm not talking about gospel song, I'm just talking about songs period. Like a song that makes me really happy every time I hear it is Maze, Before I Let Go, because it's just like such a good song. That's one that makes me feel happy all the time. I feel happy whenever I hear Yolanda Adams songs, especially her upbeat songs. I really feel happy. I like Yolanda Adams songs. They make me feel happy. But you know, songs that make you, Michael Jackson makes me feel happy. Um, Play those songs and move. Another thing, when you're feeling down, when you're overwhelmed by fear, when you're overwhelmed by anxiety, move your body. One of the things just the Holy Spirit started telling me to do last year was just move, especially when I had a lot of tension and a lot of stress and a lot of things going on. Move your body. So I just started dancing. I dance a lot and do all of this, and I just made a decision that whatever I do, I'm gonna be all in. So I don't know how many of you guys went to the New Edition concert a few months back. I danced through the whole concert because I was like, I'm gonna enjoy this moment. I'm gonna be in the moment and I'm gonna enjoy it. And I was just dancing and I was having a good time. People probably thought I was drunk and stuff. I don't drink like that and all that. So that's not me. So, but I was just naturally, I was with the endorphins of just being happy. I was naturally happy and I was enjoying the moment. New Edition, Jodeci, Charlie Wilson. I was like, all right, Uncle Charlie. So anyway, this is what I'm talking about. We want to make the most. We want to be all in. We want to let God lead us through these things that cause us fear and anxiety, and trust that He is with us, that He's leading us, that He's guiding us, and that it will get better. So this is Unitha L. Muhammad. I hope you like the book. For those of you who didn't participate in the group, I hope these videos have been a help, and you'll join one of our other champion groups. We're working on something for the summer, but you know, Faithful's in transition right now. We got a lot going on. I have something I plan for summer for groups, but we just have to see if it can work out. If not, if we don't have what I have planned for summer groups, I want you guys to look online because we're going to have an array of groups for the fall. Summer, we usually, you know, we don't really have any groups because people are vacationing. It's just people who want to have groups. We'll have just a few groups going on in the summer because we know that's people's travel and downtime and graduation time. I'm going to go to a graduation. My son is graduating from the Air Force, so I'm leaving tomorrow, or actually tonight, and going. He's graduating from his basic training with the Air Force, so I'm going to Texas. So it's a lot of that, you know. My daughter's graduating from high school, so it's a lot going on with people, family, friends, loved ones. So so that's what's going on with me. Okay. And you know, I'm praying for you guys, and I've been praying the whole time, and just seeing your names, not knowing you, but just praying God's blessings on you, praying that God would meet every need, praying that God would bless you and your family. God would help you overcome fear, because even if you didn't attend the group, you signed up because you thought about the Professional Troublemaker, the Fear Fighter Manual. What is that about? I think I need to check that out. And so I was praying for the places where you may be fearful, that God would deliver you from that, you know, debilitating fear that keeps you stuck and you can't move, you can't write that book, you can't start that business, you can't go back to school, you can't have a successful relationship, you can't, you know, you at odds with everybody, you always got something going on with somebody. I'm gonna tell you, that's fear-based. I'm gonna tell you, that's fear-based. That's fear of being alone, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of success, fear of failure. Oh yeah, I'm a life coach too. So I work with people with all of this. I do counseling and life coaching for people. And I do that core work. And we really get to the core of what's going on with you and what's underneath. And I'm gonna tell you, fear is a booger. Fear is a stronghold, I believe. It's a stronghold. And what we have to learn how to do with our strongholds is, number one, we can't just say, and I cast it out in the name of Jesus, but we also got to know how to work through those things and work past those things so that they no longer run our life, control our lives, and we are then living fear-based lives. So this was a book. This was a very interesting book. I will say there was moments I was like, and then there was moments I was like, yes, Lovey, yes. So I say this is a good book to read. I think I'm going to say this, and me and one of the group members, Valerie, talked about this. I think this book is really would be really good for millennials. I think Lovey herself is a millennial. I think it's written in that millennial type voice. And so if, I'm Gen X. So if you Gen X and up, we can get some nuggets out of this, but I also believe, I also felt in Valerie, as we were reading it, there were things we knew the other side, of living life a little longer. We know the other side of some of the things she was talking about. But I really think it's a really good book. I think you'll be encouraged. I think you'll be blessed. And I think you come at looking at things from different. Okay, I didn't want to do a video this long, but I wanted to sum up the book. I want to talk about the epilogue. I wanted to talk about how the epilogue was full of some great things. I'm telling you guys, even if you didn't join the group and you weren't, get the book and then go back through my videos, even if it's for those particular chapters, read and then go through the videos I sent with the chapters that you've read. And it'll help, kind of process and think through some of the things. So take care. I look forward to you joining another champion group. Maybe you'll join one that I'm leading soon. Have a wonderful summer. Hopefully we'll be together this summer. If not, then I'll see some of you in the fall. And there is champion groups. There is a group for you, a Bible study, a book club, a fellowship group. We have all different types of groups. So please browse on the Faithful Central website. Click the groups and classes tab, and you'll see a list of all the groups and classes that we have offered at this time. It's been a pleasure. I enjoyed with the women that I went through this group. Hey, Crystal. It was just a wonderful experience. I was glad we had some really good conversations, processed some things, agreed on some things, disagreed on some things, but it was still so awesome. So I love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week and be blessed.